Two guys talking about the good old days. Half of it's truth, the rest's a haze. If it bombed back then, it kills right now. Yeah, memories funny like that somehow. Names get dropped, stories grow tall. Every set was a murder, no bombs at all. It's stand-up memories, take it as you please. Where the past gets better with every tell and tease. Welcome to Stand-Up Memories.
Yes! What a great intro.
I'm stuck.
What do you mean you're stuck?
I gotta tell him I like it.
Michael's in, our producer. Job well done. That's the first we got to see our new intro. I love it.
Very good.
Very good. It makes me look good, and that's what's important.
That's what's very tough to do, is what that is.
Welcome to Stand Up Memories with our new intro.
We are not gonna plug the entire... By the way, May 23rd, Saturday night at 8 p.m., I'll be at Rodney's Comedy Club on 1st Avenue and 61st Street in Manhattan. But aside from that, we're not going to do any plugs.
On that same night, I'm going to be at Taco Bell in Hicksville on 107.
That's unless they cancel you. I'm very excited. We have a fantastic guest, and we have not talked to her at all.
All right. Now, yes, we do have a fantastic guest, and I would like to finish the intro about Welcome to Stand-Up Memories. I'm Peter Bales, and this is Jackie, the Joke Man Martling.
You remember that every week.
We've got to get that in. And
Plug Bobby's school so we don't
want to
forget
get the
it.
plugs done?
Yeah.
That makes for an exciting start to the show.
Let them stare at our guests and try and figure out.
We are a podcast, and we're coming to you from Paradise Studios in Massapequa, Long Island, and we're on live the Strong Island Network. But now, those of you out there, and I know a lot of you do, and you should try it, who want to do podcasting and want to do podcasting well, I'm plugging right now the Long Island Podcasting School, led by Bobby, who's the Doge here, the head man here. At
so many people want to have a podcast, but they have no idea how to start.
That's exactly it. You don't know how to start. Well, you start with the Long Island Podcasting School, and it's in studio. They have great facilities here. You get to do it for real. They have a day program on Saturdays, an evening program on Tuesdays. Come in, and you know what you're going to learn? Stuff Jackie and I have never learned, and we probably should.
All right, don't overdo it.
All right.
It's a good school. It's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
Learn the podcast.
How to be relaxed, hands-on training, professional equipment, recording, video, editing, and then, you just get comfortable doing it, and you should do it, and you should try it, and that's the best way to start, because once you started, you might get hooked. We're hooked.
There you go.
How long have we been doing this podcast?
About 4 minutes.
Well over 4. We're heading towards 5 years, I think. I think it could possibly be that long.
With
anyway,
you, it seems a lot
longer.
Yeah.
We have a terrific guest, and everybody can see her right there. She's a brunette. Is there something? Is black hair even stronger than brunette? You have black hair.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Dark black.
And it's Sandy Milad. That is her name. And she's a wonderful new comedian on the scene. And
I was thinking, she's my neighbor. She's an old friend. And I was thinking of asking her to be on the show because I was there at her graduation at your place.
That's right.
And I looked at my old text from her. I said, it was great last night. You were terrific. And you said, and Sandy wrote back, yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I don't think I'm going to pursue it. And I said, well, then I'm not going to ask her to be on the show. And then my girlfriend's sister and a couple of people saw her on a show. I'm like, well, that certainly sounds like she's pursuing it. So then we booked her.
Sandy has been out there, okay? And she can speak about what it's like to...
That's not a comment on her breasts, right?
She's out there. And
my friend Libby used to say, look at those baby way out there.
That happens on our podcast a lot. We start pretty high and we go low.
We talk about Peter's breasts very often.
Now, I got to tell you, we're really overloading you with plugs, but Sandy started at... Jackie gets so irritated. We plugged your spot at Dangerfield, Stand Up University. Okay, standupu.com, Stand Up University, and that's where you start in stand-up. And Sandy did. And we'll talk about why she did and what her background is and how she...
You had a great time doing that, right?
I did. There were late nights, though. They were very late
They were late
nights.
nights because at Stand Up University, we work hard on the material.
Yes.
It's all about the material.
Well,
And
if you want to be a comedian, there's going to be some late nights. I mean, come on,
there's
You're
going to
right,
be
you're
some
right.
late
She's got
nights.
some lame excuse like she's running an entire company.
Yeah,
or
she's
something.
running. She might be running an entire company.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stand Up University, she started right here on Long Island, and thank you. And Sandy, welcome. I mean,
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
you're also a comedian now. That you are a comedian. You've done it. You're continuing to do it. Tell us how you felt. Jackie was there. The first time you walked on stage with an act that you had prepared over 5 weeks at Stand Up University.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. You don't know how I ended up in that class, do you? It was like a fluke that I ended up in the class. Do you remember I was the last one to sign up? I signed up the day of.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Yeah, so a friend of mine dated someone who did it, and I thought it was really cool. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing something like that. So I went online, and I found you guys, and the class was starting that day. So I was like, screw it, let me.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
So
No.
I texted, and you guys got me in the class. Somebody had canceled last minute.
Oh,
So
we
it's
love it.
like fate,
I spur of the moment. Good that you did that.
And I thought you were so relaxed up there. You carried yourself really well. You got some laughs. It was good.
And so you were
Still
nervous.
waiting for
You weren't
Peter.
nervous. Did the
Still
nerve?
waiting for Peter to get some laughs.
I was nervous. I'm still nervous. I was nervous on Saturday, but you know what? Nobody knows it. I don't know because
I don't think it shows. Rarely do you notice nerves on a comedian because actually, when a comedian is nervous,
It
you
adds.
tend to overcompensate and act relaxed.
Right.
But and it's just
Unless somebody panics and runs off stage or faints or something.
you know, and I've worked with Jackie for decades. I've never seen you nervous.
are you ever nervous?
But
Always.
before
I always
big,
am.
before huge crowds, and you're the headliner. But I've never, and I'm observant. It's not showing on the outside.
Well, you know what it is? It's so funny because when you start out, it's weird and, you drink too much and blah, blah, blah. But what's crazy is the more well-known you are, the scarier it is because there's more pressure on you. When you have a sold-out house of 500 people, you can't just go up there and get away with it. You got to knock them out, And every time when I have a stage show, I'm always back there. The whole thing when the opening act gets a laugh, oh, that's one less I'm going to get.
I know.
Which
And
is a
another
whole
thing,
stupid thing. But Chris Rock said it the very best. He said, comedians don't get paid for doing their act. They get paid for the 20 minutes
Right.
before the show.
right,
Because I don't care who you are, you're a little freaked out. And if you're not a pro. If you're just like, I'm great,
It's
I'll
not
be
normal.
fine,
It's not normal to be completely relaxed before you do public
No.
speaking. It simply is. I have seen you. I'm not sure what the word is. I have seen you waiting to go on and getting antsy to go on, and when the person on before you is getting laughs, and I see this in a lot of headliners, they just want to get on as soon as possible.
Well,
because-
with me, it's just usually you, and you're going 20 minutes over. So you see me pacing.
one time I went a little long.
One time.
But that was only because there were so many in the women in the audience saying, "Keep going, keep going." I had no choice.
How could you
But
not?
you know what I mean. And there's a reason.
No, we're a good 1-2 punch.
and
It's,
this needs to be said. That there's a reason why the headliner gets paid more. It's because most of the pressure is on the headliner. He's got to close it out. People haven't gotten their money's worth if the headliner doesn't go up and do that. And
it's like a hooker. You got to leave people with a good taste in their mouth.
yeah, I was just thinking that. Thank you.
That's what I thought you.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking about that. But anyway,
I love when he bumpers.
sometimes I genuinely don't know what to say to some of these non sequiturs. But here you are now a comedian. You went up. How did it feel when you did a piece of material and you got your first laugh, your second laugh, the whole audience really in the palm of your hand? Because you had them. You had a great set that night. How'd that feel?
No, it feels great. You know what? It's really nerve wracking till you hit that first joke. You know, and even Saturday, I got up and the audience was like, and I pumped them up, and then I was able to kind of, you know,
So you got
Once
'em.
you get going,
yeah. I think it was. I mean, half the room were my friends, so I don't know if
that can actually be tougher.
Okay.
It was. I feel like there was like a lot of expectations, and they all watched my YouTube video. So then I'm like, oh my god, like I had to come up with mostly new jokes.
Well, you don't though. I mean,
no, I do.
You felt like you had to come up. So
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
new stuff working?
The new stuff is working. You know, I always like to record myself because I don't remember. You know, I don't remember who laughed at what, and so
When
yeah.
people,
No,
when comics ask me for advice, I say,
you told
tape
me
record
you told me that.
everything you ever do and listen back to it over and over and over. Did I
And
tell
you
that?
gave me another advice that runs through my head all the time. You told
Yeah,
me
but you
to
wouldn't go
be-
out back with me.
No, you told me to be myself, and I think that's the comfortability of being on
Right.
stage. I think each time I go up, I feel a little. It helps that I keep going on the same stage, you know. 'Cause
Actually-
I mainly just done
And
the
then
gig
eventually
room.
that space becomes your space, no matter where it is.
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Actually, Jackie's advice to new comedians is tape everything you do on stage and then later release it as an album. That's you take.
It worked.
It did work, and then sell it after your shows. And but that was actually very effective for you.
That was first.
You know, and you know who that reminds me of? The Grateful Dead recorded all their concerts and now
sold them all, yeah.
and now they're gold, and now we can go back and listen to them.
Over and over.
Dick
and over.
Spicks, there were like 100 of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a music example. But yeah, you should record. It's hard, and I find it difficult because I don't really like listening to myself because I'm very critical.
I'm not listening to myself as much as I'm listening to what landed.
Right.
Right.
And what,
That's-
you know, and what I could, I maybe like you guys said, some jokes work, some don't. Some like I've tweaked some of my jokes. I've kind of killed some of them.
So many funny things happen.
you know,
When I really got going in maybe the late '80s, we worked all these dives all over Jersey, and there's one place in the cellar of this bar, and it was packed in, and I was killing these people. And when you get to a certain point, you know your act, and you know that this joke gets this big a laugh, and the next joke gets this big a laugh, next joke, and depending on the crowd, it's always relative. It's this, or else it's this, but they're always relative. And I was rolling like a freight train, and I recorded, and I got to one joke, and it didn't get the response relative to the other ones that I always got. And I didn't think much of it. I mean, they still laughed, but I was like, wow. And on the way home, I'm listening to my little micro cassette recorder. I left out the basic premise of the joke, completely skipped over it, and they trusted me and laughed anyway, which is just so funny.
I mean, I know you've done this. I've seen you do this. Every comedian does it. When you repeat a joke, it's twice in the same performance.
Oh, I've left things out, which really
no,
annoys
but-
me.
but
That's one thing. I was on stage at Rascals, and I'm like, oh, did I do this? Because it
Yeah.
was like 4 shows on a weekend. Did I and I'm always worried. No, don't worry. And I told a joke, and somebody said, you did that 5 minutes ago.
Rascals.
Well, they're paying attention.
The
That's
same
a positive way to look at it.
the
Very
same
good.
thing happened to me. The audience is like, you just did that. But you can make it into a joke on yourself, and I have fun with that kind of stuff. But you can, if you mess up the setup, sometimes you kind of get on automatic pilot.
It
and
is
you mess up the
autopilot.
setup, and the joke doesn't hit, because every comedian knows how their joke is supposed to hit. And like I told you at Stand Up University, number your material from 1 to 10. And a professional comedian is really looking to do all 9s and 10s. Okay? And when a 9 or a 10 doesn't get that response in a normal situation where everything's you can actually see comedians kind of go glassy-eyed, like, what happened? What happened? And because you're in control. And when a comedian suddenly is not in control, that's the worst feeling in the world. Why did that happen? What happened? Why did that miss?
You know what? I've done not that often, maybe once a month, once every couple of months. I'll be going really fast, and I'll start a joke completely wrong. Like, I'll say a couple was out to lunch, or no, they're supposed to be in bed or something, and I'll go and I'll fake like I have a cough,
Yeah.
turn around and get a sip of water, and
start
then
over?
start it correctly. Nobody has any idea.
No,
you
they
know.
don't. No, you don't. In fact, with my act, when a punchline doesn't get a laugh, I just keep going because you're hoping the audience didn't even notice that there was supposed to be a
A lot
laugh.
of times they don't even notice that it's a joke.
That is a joke. Sometimes they.
It's just part of the story.
Sometimes I think I'm reading from the encyclopedia.
I'm so thrilled that you're doing this.
I love that you're doing this, and all the comedians out there, and if you're thinking about doing it, do it. All right. And how you start out is by finding the topics you're going to talk about. The topics you're going to talk about. And at Stand Up University, which you can find at standupuniversity.com. Sorry, Jackie. Jackie's at Rodney's on what date? It's a
Saturday night, May 23rd at 8 p.m.
All right. Okay.
And I'll be giving out information for Stand Up University. Now, are you talking about your business on stage?
I have like one joke right now. I
Because
know
there
you want
must-
me to talk
there
more
must
about
be
work.
so many
there are
funny
stories,
things.
but they're like long
That doesn't
stories.
matter.
Okay, let me say something about Sandy. When you get to know Sandy, she's a business owner, and her principles in business are similar to some of the robber barons from the 19th century, which is make as much money as you can and screw the employees. Right? Isn't that your
no,
philosophy?
no,
Isn't that your philosophy in business?
Absolutely not. I'm a union shop. How the heck would I do that?
He's just being a jerk. And you're Egyptian, right?
Yes,
You talk
I
about
am.
that?
We could talk.
We can talk about that, but we can also
Do you
say.
talk like an Egyptian? Wasn't that a
But do you
song?
realize that Sandy just promoted unions? For those of you who are union people, believe in unions. That's
believe
a
in
wonderful
unions.
moment we just had.
Well, I just told you I don't take advantage of my employees.
Right,
'cause
but-
you would be
Well, so hang you an effigy. And
Now, if I was a non-union shop, I don't know. Maybe I
Oh,
would. No, I
don't
don't
say
think
that.
I would. Because
No.
you know what? Every company's only as good as the people that work for it.
absolutely.
Oh boy, you've rehearsed that.
Peter's podcast is only as good as me.
That's right.
See?
Right. I'd be home by myself watching the History Channel right now if it wasn't for Jackie, the joke man, Martling.
Oh, boy. That's not true. Well, yeah.
When I
Fantastic.
started with Jackie, I had jokes about Jimmy Carter.
Wow.
That's how long I've known this guy.
Jeez, and that was when Carter was a senator.
That was
I just worked down in Florida, and Patty was there. I don't know. You might remember her if you saw her, a very pretty blonde who was a waitress
I remember Patty.
the night that Governors opened.
I remember her. I definitely remember
Patty
her.
and Eileen were the two
Yeah,
very
They
pretty
were
young
yeah,
girls.
Yeah, they were.
That's 1981.
Wow. I wasn't even born yet. No.
She came out with 6 people. She was wonderful. Wonderful.
We should have a show about waitresses at comedy clubs. How fun would those stories be? And talk about the times when comedy.
You know,
club-
a very famous joke in the mid '80s was, how do you give a comedian a hard on? Put on an apron, which was because in those days the clubs were opening and comedians were going and working at these clubs and restaurants, and so all the waitresses were emulsified by these comedians, and they thought they were big stars, and they didn't know what lowlifes we all were. So guys were saying, "Oh, I'm going to come home with you and I'm going to marry you," and then the poor next comedian that comes through the next week, you want to fool around? No, I'm going to marry Bobby Collins. Like that bullshit,
One comedian says to the other, "So how long has that club been open?" "Not that long. The waitresses are still nice to the comedians."
They're so great.
We'd come in and we'd be jerks, and the waitresses would be in.
Well, we'd
really nice.
We'd be really, really fun too.
We'd be
all
fun.
go out.
We'd be fun. We'd go out. The waitresses were wonderful and fun and just fun. And it's not an easy job.
Oh, there's so many kids in Fort Lauderdale that look like me.
huh?
No, they were all really nice, and it was always fun. But they do wise up.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
waitresses do wise up.
You
to
come
that.
back the next year, and
No, so many great memories of waitresses.
waiters.
Not so much of the waiters, but waitresses, comedy clubs. So, when you're looking for topics, you are a businesswoman. Do you want to elaborate on that at all, or?
I don't really look
Okay, no,
for
you
top.
don't-
What's up?
we don't have to-
Work is kind of boring.
Work is kind of boring, but it does define you. Do you have one joke in your act about being?
I have one joke about a situation that happened. Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Oh.
You don't want. You don't want to.
Yeah, put her on the spot.
Put her on the
Well,
spot.
I've told the story. So some time ago, I got honored by a very nice
I love
group
this.
of women electricians. I was very touched. Then I got up and I made a speech and I talked about.
Women electricians. There must be at least 2 of them.
No, there was actually
I'm being an idiot.
a whole room full. No, we have about maybe 8% of. We have maybe over 500 or 600.
No,
Wow.
see,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're being honest.
Jackie's comment is another illustration, which we get every podcast, that he's basically living in 1957.
It wasn't such a bad time.
It was a great year.
It's a great year.
It was a great year.
I had an Edsel. So go ahead.
Okay. So I got up, I made a speech, and part of my
is great.
speech, I wanted to talk about how far we've come as women and how the days, because I really hate when people call me honey and sweetie at work. It's very, very condescending. So I had the stage, I made my point, I got a standing ovation. I'm heading back to my seat, and the business manager comes over and says, "You're a doll."
Which
Which is
crazy.
the 100% true story. I twisted up a little
but
bit
it's
in my
so-
act,
To this day, and I don't get in a lot of trouble because my girlfriend understands me, but my father always referred to the waitress as honey and sweetie, when you're at a diner or something, and I've always done that. And then there's no animosity. There's no trying to put your hand up her skirt. It's like, thank you, sweetie.
Listen, I call people honey and sweetie all the time, but I'm not going to call someone who's my,
Right.
Yeah,
like,
but the problem is,
it's very
You're the boss,
condescending. Yeah, I am the boss, and
Yeah.
I've stopped
Can I have some
doing
overtime,
business with people
sweetie,
because
honey?
of being called that.
That's
I don't
funny.
like that at all.
But the problem when we're at the diner with Jackie and the waitresses, when his clam chowder is cold, he goes, "You bitch," and that's
Now you
over the
get
top.
honey and sweetie a lot.
That's
over the
not
top.
old school. That's just plain rude.
That's just plain
You know
obnoxious.
what? The next time it was hot, wasn't it?
It
You
was, and it has
picturesque.
been ever since.
Always hot.
That incident. All right.
You're a doll.
So,
that's
It's
great.
a true story.
So I always recommend comedians talk about themselves on stage and
I
what
think
they
that's a
like.
great.
Okay, so
suggestion.
what do you like about yourself? What do you like to do that makes it into your act? What when you're having fun, what are you doing?
When I'm
Jackie's
having
your
fun.
neighbor, so you're probably locking your door.
She lives,
No,
she lives on the nice end of town, on the west end of Bayville.
The West End.
Joe-
I thought all
Joe
of Bayville,
Harrison
all of
Williams is-
Oh, I
Bayville's
got it.
nice.
It is.
All of
Yes.
Bayville's nice.
It
I
is.
love
It's
that
beautiful.
town. It's gonna be my 10th summer there. I've been there a while now.
Good.
So and I like it. No, I actually I'm very sarcastic, and I
Yeah.
kind of try to like take that and make it into, because there's a lot of things I want to say sometimes, but make a joke out of it now. So
Yes,
I've been
you can take what makes you angry and turn it
into a joke. Yeah, which is mostly what I do.
Good. Good.
It's a way to,
Yeah, and if you have something sarcastic to
Edit
say,
out.
if you have something sarcastic to say at work, instead of saying it, write it down and say it that night.
Yeah,
you know.
I make notes everywhere. I have to like kind of condense because I have crap everywhere.
So-
right.
So, Sandy, if I mention the topic of men, does any anger come into your mind? The topic of men in
Men
your
in
life.
general?
No, in your life. Let's get precise here.
Men
Are
in
you
my life?
hitting on my guest?
Am I hitting on her? No, I'm helping her write material.
No,
He's
actually,
like,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
what do you
happy
think
with
about
most of the
men,
men in my life
especially
right now.
me?
Right now.
Right now, yeah. No, I've made fun of some of the male choices I've made in the past that I'm not so proud of.
All right. Well, you've made a mistake being friends with Jackie. That's an error.
Aww.
Come on, this is comedy. You're not.
That's all right. I could take it. I could take it. No, she's a very happy woman. I don't even know anything about you, whether we never got as far as, we went over to, I think we had dinner at your house, so went
And
over
you've
to
been in
visit
my
you.
pool.
Was in the pool, but never got into how many kids, do you get married,
I have one daughter. She's 32.
Nice.
Can I give her a plug? She
Yes.
does websites and social media marketing and email marketing, and it's miladmedia.com.
Nice plug.
That's terrific. And my girlfriend is starting a business, and she could probably use her. Does she live in close?
She doesn't need to.
No, I know.
This
but
is a digital world, It doesn't matter.
I still believe in sitting there with somebody.
Well,
These
I'll always
she'll be in
old-fashioned.
town soon, so
I want to plug something.
it is a
I've-
show of all plugs.
I've just created a pamphlet on chlamydia, and I'm selling it on the street corner to women that I think need the pamphlet.
So does that mean
You're selling
you're
it.
going to get rid of crabs.com?
I'm getting it. I own that domain, and I'm going to get the biggest price I can for it. So I have a feeling you're going to keep going in comedy.
I am going to keep going.
And why is that? Are you maybe a little bit addicted?
No, I'm a very balanced person. No, I really, really enjoyed. I just actually wish I could give it more time. I just don't
Addicted
have.
is a very strong word,
Yeah,
but what
yeah,
she's
yeah,
saying
yeah.
is you get the laughs. You look forward to doing it again.
I look forward to doing it, but
Jackie,
I can't.
addicted is a strong word, but you and I both, and you know it, are addicted.
Well, I know you used to
I
be.
am.
Yeah.
To each other, you mean?
It's not-
Yeah, to each other.
No, yeah.
No, really.
After a certain amount of time, but I'm like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was married for a long time, and I'd be at some point I'd be like different, and you're not aware of it, and all of a sudden, one day I'll be thinking I'm my regular self, and my ex-wife would say, "Oh, it's pretty obvious who had a good show last night," because I guess you walk with a little bit more click in your
do.
heels, and you just feel better, but you don't realize it,
When you have a bad show, and there's a days.
Shut up!
Yeah, there are days in between. Then you just want to get on stage as soon as possible. It's like taking a shower. You got to get back on stage. Everybody has bad shows. Ask Jackie.
Yeah, Peter does.
all the time, right?
Constantly. No, but I mean, oh man, you want me to tell you something? It's a little bit heavy. I have 2 sons. I never encouraged either of them to go into stand-up because I remember how painful sometimes it could be especially when you're starting out and you have to deal with bombing and some of the I never wanted them to go through that. How difficult it was starting.
Yeah, if you meet somebody and you don't like them, you say, you know what you should do? You should do stand-up comedy.
But that was me being protective. I mean, people watching out there, and you want to do stand-up, try it because it'll be, at the very least, interesting. It'll be an experience. It'll be on your bucket list and check it off.
Well, I know I've said the same thing 100 times on this podcast, but if somebody comes up to me and says, I'm thinking about being a comedian, what should I do? And I say, you should quit.
Oh,
And they're like,
that's
what
not
are
what
you
you
talking
told
about?
me, though.
But I'd say, give up. You haven't got a chance. And I had a chance to talk to you more. But the reason I'd say that to somebody is if they're thinking about going into show business or being a comedian and they run it by me and I say, don't do it, if that's enough to stop them, they haven't got it, because if that's enough to stop you in your tracks, you haven't got a prayer because you hit so many goddamn brick walls,
You get dedicated to it. You can't stop. It's full speed ahead. We always talk about the example. I was one of these people, and I know they're out there now in the clubs. I see these young people, and they're great. The type of person who will get up from the Thanksgiving table and say to everybody, "I gotta go, got a spot in the city."
Maybe I should quit.
No, no, you shouldn't. No, don't. You're perfect. I mean, you're very sort of animated. You're a very animated person on stage. You've
But
got
maybe you should specialize. Maybe you should wear a hard hat and go up with a pair of pliers.
You are so
know.
fascinated.
I am. I think it's wonderful.
It's not what I wanted to do when I was a little kid, but it's what I ended up doing. But
and you like the applause.
I love the laughs. You know, the applause at the end, like I run off stage and everybody's like, what do you run off stage? I'm like, I don't know, but the laughs I love. I love the laughs.
Because you're worried if you stand there and wait for the applause.
Yeah, like, am I supposed to bow? Like, I don't know. What's the etiquette? You guys didn't tell us.
You know what drives me crazy? I'll tell you, every comedian out there watching or new comedian, when you're done, say to the audience, good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Make it clear to them that you're done so they can applause. If you just kind of,
Or else it just looks like you have to take a leak.
yeah, I mean, it's if you kind of like walk off, like slink off, make it clear to them, for God's sake. Good night, everybody. And when they know you're done, they'll applaud.
Well, in all
Yeah,
fairness,
well-
sometimes you walk off stage with your tail between your legs.
Speaking of which, you guys, it's time to wrap it up.
We just got the.
In show business, we call that the hook.
The hook.
We
Oh,
just
I
got
know.
the hook.
Oh, okay.
That was our producer Michael Zinn, who we have to admit, I love that intro. It was a surprise for us.
Good job, Michael. Good job.
Good job. We had a wonderful guest. I mean, and she's out there and she's not stopping. She's not stopping.
So she'll keep going, and we'll have her back on the show.
Oh, we will. Sandy
to
Milad.
report in
Sandy
with you.
Milad.
Thank you, guys.
A big business owner and now comedian and neighbor of Jackie's in Bayville, where you got
And the summer's around the corner.
Oh, yeah, the sunset's coming back. It's
Here it
beautiful.
comes.
It's
Here it
beautiful.
Here it comes. So thank you, Jackie the Joke Man Martling. I am Peter Bales. This has been Stand Up Memories. We'll see you next time.
Peace.